driving my daughter to the dojo right now, and she wants to make some extra money, and I let her come to the gym to help out. She mops the mat, she vacuums, she tidies up, she takes out the trash. So a lot of things that I don't necessarily have to do because I can invest my time in other things. And it's a long-standing Asian tradition to involve your children in your business, because a lot of times Asian people, when they're immigrants, they can't really get a good job because maybe it's a language barrier, or maybe it's a credential thing. Maybe they were certified in their country, but they aren't certified in America. So they end up opening their own business, and so they involve the children because it's probably the least expensive way to hire somebody. So I'm panting my daughter for a second. So I try to teach my daughter my business because I want her to know how hard I work and all the nuances involved in running a business. A lot of times children don't understand how much you have to work to earn that dollar, to earn that money. And until they have to work for it, then they won't value it, right? And so until you have to work for something and then budget your money so that you can buy something, you won't know the value of that money, right? So money can be your slave or can be your king, right? It can be your servant. So in other words, if you know how to invest it, if you know how to make it grow, then it's a power play for you, okay? Or you can be slave to it in the sense that you don't know what to do. You spend it, the minute you touch it, it leaves you, right? So I'm gonna talk to my daughter, right? She's been coming to the gym now for how long? A few months helping. And what is your experience like with working?
More difficult than I'd like it to be, for sure, but
more difficult.
But at the end of the day, it's worth it.
Why is it more difficult?
Because you don't realize how much work it actually goes into getting each dollar bill.
Yeah. So in the beginning, there's a lot of resistance, right? Like you actually were slow at doing things, and you felt uncomfortable. You had to feel comfortable to mop the mat, and it was just very slow process. You know what I mean? And I go after my daughter. I sometimes I'm hard on her because I want her to have good work ethic. Like sometimes she's slow in mopping the mat. Sometimes she has to plug in her little smartphone to listen to music, this and that. And I tell her, like, I'm not gonna pay you until you get this work done, right? Because that's how it's done in the real world. And I tell her that if she wants something, unless it's for school, I'm not gonna give her the money because she's gonna end up sucking what little resources we have, right? And resources are so important because you can take that resources and multiply it and quadruple it to make even more, right? What are a couple of things I've been teaching you that kind of sticks with you now?
Working really hard to study and learn how to do things better than you would have before.
What do you mean?
You have to study things in order to do them well. I did not mop the floor very well in the beginning. It was I knew how to do it, but I didn't.
Oh, a little bit louder. You weren't. So in the beginning, she thought she knew how to mop the floor, and I had to show her several times. Until you do something, your mind will play tricks on you, and you will look at something and you think it's easy, and then until you get your hands dirty or start doing it, you realize, oh crap, it's hard. The human mind's so tricky. It keeps on telling you it's easy until you start doing it. Then you realize it's hard, right? Okay, go ahead. You're saying the mop the mat.
You had to learn how to do it the most efficient way possible. Whereas if you were saying, if you watch someone do it, the human mind likes to play tricks that you know how to do it now from watching.
Exactly. The human mind's very lazy, right? And you will look at something, and you will always passively look at something, and you will think you know it until you get your hands dirty. Then you realize, oh crap, I missed this detail, I missed that detail. You know what I mean? What else? I was hard on you. Some days I was really stressed out, and I was really hard on you because you didn't play a good support system, right? What else did you learn?
Working as a self-employed person and having your own business is a lot harder than people seem to think, because some people think that being self-employed is you just work when you want to and you just get this never-ending cash flow, because somehow, without putting in as many hours as you would at the office, you still make the same amount of money or more, putting in less time and less effort.
Yep, that's true. So at the beginning of a self-employment stage or a small business stage, you actually have to work more than if you were to employ with somebody. But you're hoping in your mind that in the long run the investment will pay off, and that you will double, quadruple, or you will have control over your time or your destiny, or that you can scale your business. When you work for someone, you can never scale your business. You can never leave a legacy. You can never create value of your own. You're always depending on someone. But on the flip side, when you work, when you're done, you're done. You don't take it home with you, and you don't have to return phone calls and message, and you don't show up in the middle of the night to do stuff. You just go to sleep. What a couple of things you observed, running my martial arts schools, and not just martial arts schools.
You work a lot more than you want to. You have to wake up really early in the morning, and you go to sleep very late at night. And when you worked at your other job too, you still had to work the same amount, but you still worked just 2 times as hard because you had half less time than you would. So you work a lot harder. It's a lot more work than it seems to be.
Yep. And I showed my daughter this video. It's called The Fisherman's Story, where basically imagine 1,000,000 years ago, we didn't have technology. So this guy only could catch 1 fish a day with his bare hand. And then he realized that if he could create a spear, he can throw a spear and catch more than 1 fish a day. But you have to remember, there's no technology back then. So he had to figure out a way to make a stick sharp, and he had to experiment with the stick and stuff like that. And he spent 2, 3, 4 days making the stick and learning how to spear a fish. But for that 2, 3 days, he was starving. But he knew that if he could make it successful, that stick will reward him 4, 5, 6 fish, right? And then those fish, he can sell it in the market. He can make them. He can preserve them. He can create a whole industry out of them. So in the beginning, you invest a lot of time. You don't know if it's going to work or not, and you starve. You're hungry. You don't. So you either go for the immediate, or you hope for you believe in your effort and hope for something better down the road. What do you think of what I'm doing right now? Like you see all the time I'm running to the gym, and I'm making you mop the floor, vacuum, and there's a lot of behind the scene work, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so describe some of the behind the scene work that, before I have to teach class, I'm doing all sorts of stuff.
You have to organize everything to make sure it doesn't look a whole mess. You have to keep track of all the money, the money that comes in, which is very difficult because a lot of people don't want to use PayPal, and you have to try to convince them to use PayPal.
Yeah, actually, I systemized my business, and almost everything now is done on PayPal, which helped a lot. About 6, maybe 7 years ago, people were paying me cash or check, and it was a disaster. And now, I think 95% of all my clientele, my students, pay via PayPal, so that helps a lot. What else?
trying to get people to stay at the gym, like stay at the dojo when they obviously could just not, to save their money. And that's a lot of work to convince them to stay.
I think what my daughter's trying to say is I have to provide a service where people want to come back month after month, class after class. It's not just a one-time transaction. And unlike doing a one-time transaction, you got to build value, you got to build relationship, you got to show people that their time, I value their time, money, and energy. Like what I do is kind of unique in the sense that they're not just giving me money, they're committing their time. They don't just show up, right? They have to put in an hour to train with me and pay me money and travel to come train with me. So there's like a 3-triangle investment here, and I have to convince my students, if you're my students watching, that that what I offer is valuable to you. It benefits you, and so what do you think I'm doing so far? Am I doing a good job, or
the best job that you possibly could? I mean, like you can always do better, but
okay. So how do you know that your dad is providing value to the children? To
people keep coming back, and they always compliment you on the service you provide.
Okay. All right. Well, we're at the dojo right now, and she has to mop the floor, vacuum, pick up, and she's actually getting more efficient at it. She's getting faster. She's actually learning not to lose focus. So I want to end the video by saying this. Like, I know if you're self-employed or you have a business, involve your children. If not, start a side business or something and involve your children at a very young age. Because we're living in a society now where working 9 to 5 is going to get more and more rare. You got to have a side hustle. And even if your children don't want a side hustle, the fact that they get to see how the whole economic system works is much different than just seeing it from one step, right? So if you can see more of the chain, you'll have a better understanding of the whole economy, the whole system, and you can never get taken advantage of. I wanted to shoot a video about Malcolm Gladwell. He analyzed the immigrants, Hispanic community and the Jewish community, and why a lot of Jewish people end up becoming lawyers, entrepreneurs, etc., versus a lot of Hispanic people did not. And he had a great analysis about it. And if you're interested in that, thumbs up, and I will shoot a video talking about that. And I gotta find that book and read an excerpt from it. Anyways, guys, come here. I'd like to thank my daughter. At first, she was kind of resistant in shooting this video with me, but I'm trying to teach her to articulate. I'm trying to teach her to get comfortable in front of the camera. We live in a society now where social media, YouTube, everything is like right in your face, and instead of being a slave to it, you take ownership of it. You become the master of it, and the only way to do that is to practice and to articulate yourself. You know what I mean? Like 400 years ago, only the priests, only the nobility knew how to write. And if you knew how to write or read, it was like was so shocking. It was like, oh no, you don't have to read and write. The poor people cannot learn how to read and write because then they're able to articulate themselves and express their feelings to the general masses, right? And so we're going through a same thing now where we're communicating on a daily basis via text message, social media, whatever, but the communication is very on a low level, right? And until you can harness that energy, and if you can harness that energy, you can really influence a lot of people and add value to society.